everybody, and welcome to another episode of Flock's Nest Sports Podcast. I, as always, am one of your hosts, Dallas, repping number 9 of the Baltimore Ravens, Justin Tucker. Probably going to be swapping jerseys here soon, but that's a conversation for later.
I'm Brendan. I'm the other half, always repping 54, Bobby Wagner of the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, we've got a pretty good show for you guys today. We're going to start with some breaking news. Some quarterback change-ups happened around the league. Then we're going to get into both of our games, the Ravens and the Seahawks this week, plus our games of the week. Look ahead to next week. Might talk a little boxing just because
It happened.
sports things happened. But we'll just see where the day takes us. So, Brendan, do you want to kick us off with our breaking news?
Yeah, so obviously the Giants have not been good this season, and they are choosing to bench Daniel Jones in favor of Tommy DeVito.
DeVito. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this honestly is them tanking. They're just picking to lose games. I did see a couple things financially. This makes way too much sense. It's the Russell Wilson situation from last year, in which Daniel Jones has like 23 something million dollars guaranteed if he gets hurt. So you're just not risking that essentially. And then why they named DeVito the starter is Drew Lock has upwards of $2 million in incentives based on snaps. So if you don't want to have to pay Drew Lock $2 extra million, he would hit his snap quota for that at this point. So you start DeVito for financial reasons. That's what they're doing.
So, every part of me hates every part of this. Um, Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. I'm not sitting here going, play him. No, bench the motherfucker. He's not good. You shouldn't have signed him. You definitely shouldn't have picked him over Saquon Barkley. Just loads of stupid ass decisions were made.
Mm.
I don't think he's the next like Baker Mayfield. But Drew Lock has always gotten the crap end of the deal. He was in a bad situation in Denver. He's just never really gotten his shot.
And I was like, Geno Smith never really played
He
badly
was
or
loved.
got hurt.
Yeah, he was loved in Seattle. And he loves Seattle. And you and I talked last week that I felt like you could see his absence. He went to New York because he was assured there was a chance he would start. So now this time has come. The reason he picked New York over going back to Seattle was for this shot, for this moment. And you pick Tommy DeVito or Danny DeVito? I don't fucking care.
It's Tommy DeVito.
It is Tommy. Yeah, I fucked that up.
Yeah.
In the notes. For Tommy DeVito, are you fucking with me? What the hell is the matter with you? I get the incentive part of it. I get the financial part of it. I also think because I agree with you that it's a tank.
Yeah.
But he had like New York fans so excited for him. Like he was loved in New York last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a way of like tanking but not losing your fans.
Yeah.
But it's bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Like this is why you gave him that shot.
And what they'll come out and say is, well, because I've heard an analyst say this is like Tommy DeVito has the chance to progress and develop. And I'm like, technically, yes, but he's an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, like I don't
like it's not likely that he.
I would get playing him if he was somebody you thought you could progress into being a starting quarterback. That's not who he is. That's not what he is. Like he's a fan favorite. That's what this was.
Yeah.
Like you made a financial decision and you picked the fan favorite. And I hate it. I do get it from a business standpoint, but this is why Drew Lock came to you. This is why he picked you over going back to Seattle.
Yeah. And
So,
now
not
and now you're
thrilled.
not gonna re-sign him,
No,
most likely. I mean,
because he's expensive.
I guess you could, but I wouldn't at this point.
You're not
Isn't
gonna keep him and Daniel Jones and
oh
draft a new quarterback.
yeah. So what that means for Drew Lock in the future, I don't know. But yeah, I definitely feel for Drew Lock because this was his shot. And it seems the Giants are just unwilling to give it to him for an unfair, for mostly unfair reason, as it was
Yeah,
purely financial. Um, so yeah,
you
it's
can't tell me that Tommy DeVito's doing better in practice
he's
than
not.
Drew Lock.
He's the
Like,
third string quarterback.
it's
And
not even real.
what's worse is now Daniel Jones is the third stringer.
Yeah.
So it goes now DeVito, Lock, Jones.
So
So
this
you
was
just
just.
yeah,
I hate every part of this.
I just don't understand this at all. But you know what, for another day, I guess. And then after the win against the Jets, Anthony Richardson has been renamed the starting quarterback going
Hold
forward.
on. He was renamed the starting quarterback before the Jets game. We just had already recorded our video, and then he played against the Jets.
That is true. I thought that happened.
Mm-mm. It was stupid because like Sunday after their loss to Minnesota or whoever they lost to, they were like, "No, it's Flacco." And then Tuesday during his press conference after we recorded, he was like, "Oh no, yeah, we're
Uh,
gonna go back to
it
Richardson."
did happen Tuesday. It just happened late
Hmm.
on Tuesday. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope. So, I mean, it's the same thing. Richardson is the starter. He's going to remain the starter. Um, he beat the Jets. Take that for what you want, I guess.
So
It's
did the benching help him, or the Jets just that terrible?
take that with how you feel like. I don't really know what to tell you. I think it's a the Jets drew just kind of suck. Um, Richardson looked a little better in this game overall, but still not it.
Yeah.
Definitely
I
had the rushing ability this game. You saw that a lot, but that was about it.
I after they re-announced it, I had two thoughts. One, it was clearly punishment for tapping yourself out.
Yeah,
Two, I kind of think they were hoping that Flacco was just going to help them get the wins over tough games because they benched him for Minnesota and fuck, who was that other team? Who did they play the week?
they play. Oh shit.
Titans.
Yeah, which they're not a good team, but whatever.
No, but they won. Like the Titans
Yeah,
won. And both of those are division games, right? That's that division.
the Titans and no, it's just, the Titans are division, I think, but the Vikings are not.
Yeah, okay. But so but that's why they benched him for the Titans game.
Yeah,
Is because while not a good team, it's a division game. And then we bench you for a good team to hopefully get the win, get us back in that column.
yeah,
And then Flacco came in and looked like shit.
yeah,
So we put our shitty quarterback also back in against a terrible team. So it
yeah.
looks like this weird game of Madden or like fantasy football. Of like, we're playing this team, so let's play these players to try and have the best shot at a better record, is how this feels to me.
I mean, fair. That's probably not, but like
I'm
the
not saying that's what happened, but that's how it feels.
this whole situation is just a little weird because I do think you're right. I do think this benching was just punishment for what he did previously with the whole tapping yourself out of the game because you were tired. Um, and I do understand that. I did think this benching was a little more than that, but it turns out based on what we're seeing here, it
Yeah,
wasn't.
like, I
Um,
think originally we thought, "Okay, you wanna sit in, you wanna give your team the best chance to win." 2 weeks later, and you're like, "Oh, no, he's back."
and like, I understand Flacco was shit in those 2 games, but I don't know. It's a weird decision for the Colts, I think, but at the same time, Anthony Richardson, I guess, is a developmental guy, and if you're aware of that, you're just gonna have to live with that.
Yeah, I just think,
And if you're
man,
fine
just
living with that, then that's all you.
and make a decision and stick with it. Like, let's come on, come on.
Because I do think like for Richardson, the best path for development is just playing. You're
Yeah,
gonna lose
like, you
games.
need the
He's
reps.
gonna do stupid shit. You're just gonna have to
Yeah,
take it and move on.
no,
But
I agree.
that's really where we're at with the Richardson situation. But it'll be an
It's
interesting one to follow this off season.
Yeah, and I think the rest of this season of
Yeah,
how do you do, and how I think they have a good roster, but they are clearly lacking at quarterback, and I don't think the the Jets are not a good team. Like, I
no,
don't know. Like, yeah, you won. Congratulations. I don't think it's gonna matter down the line.
probably not. It might make it so that it helps you potentially get a playoff spot.
And I think it helps with confidence, but
Yeah,
this the AFC is so hard to break into.
and with the Broncos
And the
stepping up
Chargers
big,
playing the way they are,
yeah,
I just don't know if you're gonna be able to crack it.
and like obviously the Ravens aren't even winning their division and they're 7-3, so there's
Yeah,
another spot. Or seven and
and
four
they're
now,
7-4, and they're the 6th seed, like, they're guaranteed a spot right now, like,
and they have one of the better records. And then you have the Broncos and you have the Chargers, who are both not leading their division and are both, I believe, in playoff spots right now
yeah.
at 6 or no, they're both 7 and something now. Or the Chargers are
Yeah.
7-3,
The Chargers are 7-3, the Broncos are 6
6
and
and 4.
5, 6 and 4, 6 and 5, one of them.
Yeah.
So,
So,
yeah, like, I just don't know how much it's gonna matter.
uh, but we'll see. The AFC is an interesting division. So,
Conference?
yeah, conference. And then a non-football thing that happened that I mean happened, I guess, is the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. Um, I feel like the real losers were, everyone that tried to watch the fight because it was not good, and
Yeah.
Netflix sucks at live productions.
Yeah, it's not great.
And I have a theory. I have a little conspiracy theory here. Okay,
Okay.
I think Netflix took this fight
Mhm.
to be able to test out their stuff for the NFL coming up in December
Hey,
because
that's not a terrible
they have
thought.
the Christmas broadcasts
Mhm.
in December. You just found out what you need to fix for live events on
Yeah.
a event people care about but don't care a lot about.
I mean, 60 million people,
That's the thing, like people care,
like,
but I mean,
yeah.
like at the end of the day, it's
People cared
boxing.
enough to watch. People
Mike,
cared enough to watch it and move on.
and then I have takes on this fight. Otherwise, I think it was stupid. I do think it was kind of rigged in a way of like they weren't actually fight like it was
Yeah.
stupid. And I have opinions on the people fighting it. I won't get into those, but it's stupid. It's a stupid fight.
I felt like it was a complete waste of time, money, and
Yeah,
effort. And I've never been a huge boxing fan. Like, you cannot discredit Mike Tyson's career and his legacy, and
yeah,
I would never do that. I'm just more of a UFC fan. I feel like boxing in the modern era is not nobody cares. Uh,
Yeah,
During Tyson and Muhammad Ali, absolutely all day long. Let's do that. Now I couldn't give a crap, and most of America and the world couldn't give a crap. But this was stupid.
yeah.
I have zero interest in watching a 50-plus-year-old man
He's almost 60.
beat up a YouTuber. I don't. I'm sorry.
Or a
Like,
YouTuber beat up a 60-year-old man.
yeah, like I don't care. I thought this was stupid. I don't think this made sense for Tyson. I get Jake Paul. I'd keep pulling guys out of retirement by stroking their ego and then winning because
They're
you're
60.
half their age. I just
I mean,
it was
no,
stupid. I do agree. I do like the theory that this was I just also think Netflix is trying so hard to figure out how to stay relevant.
that's my point, is I think they're trying to, like, pitch that they can do live sports,
Yeah.
and I think this one was kind of their, like,
Okay, now we know what's
test
wrong.
of, if we fuck this up, not a ton of people are gonna care.
Yeah,
And let's be honest, no one gives a shit about boxing. So if we don't sign any more boxing,
events, then it doesn't matter. NFL is where the money's at.
yeah, because you
Like,
have the NFL, college football might
yeah,
decide. You have, especially right now with the Pac-12 being rebuilt,
yeah,
they don't have a service. Like, they don't have a um channel or a service backing them. If Netflix wants to get in that,
yeah.
you got to be able to prove that you can televise live TV.
So yeah, I don't hate that theory at all. Cause yeah, it was a disaster. And then if you didn't see it, it went to decision, and Jake Paul did that.
Yeah, it,
It's just it was
it's
stupid,
boring.
stupid.
I looked at it like 3 times just to morbid curiosity.
Nope.
The first time I looked at it, the fight hadn't even started, and it was supposed to start at like 8, I believe, or that's just when it said it was supposed to. It started at like 9, so I was like, okay, it's boxing. I don't really give a
Yeah.
shit when you start. Second time, it crashed in the first like minute and a half. The third time, it was just to see who won.
Yeah. I was in bed. I rewatched. I watched a replay of it.
I didn't
Um,
care enough to watch the replay.
I didn't care enough to watch it live.
I didn't watch it. I just
Replay, I cut
clicked.
out all the crap. I just kinda wanted I just wanted to see how this happened, how we got to the decision. I was curious.
Based on what
Um,
I saw, it was very much that Mike Tyson is a 60-year-old man,
yeah,
and Jake Paul
and
is not even 30 yet.
it just the first round was semi something, and then we just kind of
Yeah,
danced around for the rest of it.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
complete waste of everybody's time. So,
you know, fair enough, I guess.
and
Make your money, whatever.
I think if I don't know, Tyson's legacy is what it is, and like I hesitate to use that word because of this interview he did, which was pretty funny. Um, but his career is what it is, and it speaks for itself. There was no need to do this, and I don't think this impacts it at all. It's just this stupid
No,
thing we're all going to forget about in like a year.
I, honestly, the reason he did it was I think he got paid quite a bit.
20 million apiece for both of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I mean, okay,
I think Paul got 40 for the win, and Tyson got 20 just to show up. So I mean,
yeah.
like $20 million just to show up. Fuck it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I would get in the ring with Mike Tyson for $20 million.
Yeah,
I would.
especially now.
Yeah.
Prime Mike Tyson.
No, God, no. Like I'm not going to survive that.
I pick a life.
I would. I like my ears firmly where they are. Thank you.
Thank you for making the joke. You knew it had to come out at some point. Yeah.
Oh,
So it was just something that happened in the
yeah.
sports
This thing that
realm.
happened.
Um,
Look, we are talking sports here.
It
It's so
happened.
hard to call that a sport, though. It felt more like
It was
I
a
don't know. It felt more like fucking.
it was a professional boxing fight. I don't know what to tell you. It was a sport. It
I
felt
watched it. It didn't look like a professional box.
that's what it was listed as.
No, I understand that. I understand that.
All right. Before we keep shitting on
I can't fucking
boxing
pay
and
5-year-olds to play soccer and call it professional. It doesn't look the same.
that's fair. Before we just keep shitting on boxing in this fight, you wanna get back to the NFL and talk a little bit about the Ravens?
Not really, because that's just one
Yep.
more thing I'm gonna shit on.
Well, at least you can shit on the Ravens.
So yeah, okay, fine. Talk about the fucking Baltimore Ravens. So here's the thing. I think I'm gonna dialogue a little bit more than just genuinely talk about the game. I have thoughts on this game as well as the narrative entering and following the game. And I think that's significantly more important. I anticipated a loss. And I texted you after the game that I was mad they didn't lose the way I thought they were going to. That's kind of what pissed me off.
Yeah.
And then thinking about it, I'm actually kind of glad they didn't lose the way I thought they were going to. Because I think now they're forced to blame those units. So, Ravens at Pittsburgh lose 18-16. The defense for the Ravens played far and away their best game. Far and away. They held Pittsburgh to 6 field goals. They made that team look back like they were being run by Justin Fields. The defense played well, they played hard. I was very happy. They made clear personnel changes. They talked about that during the broadcast, how they used Hamilton and Williams more as two deep safeties. You saw the coverage really well. Tre'Davious White played really well. Wiggins, like the defense just played great. Humphrey got an interception. They got several sacks, a lot of pressure. Great game, best game of the season for the Ravens defense. I think you saw the benefit of bringing in Dean Pease. I think Zach Orr was kind of married to the scheme he wanted, and Pease was able to help him be like, we got to make some changes. That's how we're going to get energy and how we're going to get the explosiveness. And we saw that. Great. Offensively, the narrative going into this game was, well, Lamar can't beat the Steelers. Sure. That's sure. Okay. That's true. He's now 1-5 against the Steelers. It's not wrong. It's not a lie. But much like the playoff conversation, I don't think we talk enough about why. And when we watch this game, why matters. All I've heard Monday and Tuesday was, oh my God, see, this is what happens. Big games, they lose their identity because they threw the ball too much and didn't run it enough. When you are 3rd and 9 plus on every fucking drive, you have to throw the ball. It's just kind of how it works. It's just how football works. The offensive line let this team down. 10 penalties, 80 plus yards. That's what the O line did. Lamar and all of his greatness, because that's what he is, can only overcome so much. You can only, every big play they had, pass, run, whatever, was wiped off the board because of penalties. With the exception of the 16-yard pass to Zay Flowers. So I don't have issues mostly with the play calling. I didn't love the play call for the 2-point conversion. I get what you were attempting to do. Henry should have been on that field. Um, Henry makes defenses wonder who's the ball going to, who's going to run it. When you take Henry away, they know it's Lamar. They know it's. I knew it was Lamar. People that don't know anything about football knew it was Lamar. Like, come on. I didn't love the play call, but that is not how that game was lost. It was penalties by the O line. I also felt like in the beginning, it felt kind of like old Lamar, where, and he said this in his press conference, they were like too hyped. He needed to go out there and maybe run a couple times and just settle everybody down. We were trying to force the ball to Deontay Johnson, which I didn't like. I don't care if one of your wide receivers is pissed off. Don't force the ball to somebody you haven't built a connection with. And then special teams wise, what the fuck? What the fuck? You missed a 47 and a 50-yarder to then make a 54-yarder.
If he
Someone
just
want to explain
makes
that to me?
one of those kicks, you win, by the way. Just want to throw that
So
out there.
here's my thing. It's easy to say if you add 3 or 6 points to the Ravens based off those kicks, the Ravens win.
Yes.
Yes, technically that is true. However, because those kicks came earlier, I do think it then changes how the Steelers play football. I'm
It
not
does change,
guaranteeing that a win,
but 6 points
but
is 6 points.
it does vastly help the situation.
Um,
Especially because the defense was playing so well. So now back to my original point.
because I think the other thing, hold on, before I want to
Yeah,
continue mine,
go.
you're giving them the football in good field position because you missed those field goals.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're
No, absolutely.
much easier to drive down the field and kick a field goal at that point.
So I was mad because I expected a loss, but I expected it in a certain way. What I think has happened up until this point in the season, it's been easier. The O line has been a problem all year. Tucker has been a problem all year. But it's been easy to pass the blame to the defense. To be like, well, Tucker missed a kick, but then the Ravens got a 2-point conversion, so the defense just needs to stop somebody. Well, the O line had some penalties in the first half, but then cleaned it up in the second half. That was the Bengals game. And it's been easy to pass the blame around. This game, there is no one to blame but the O line and Tucker. And I think because of that, this team now has the opportunity to take a hard look at that O line and get it in line. They play the Chargers next week. I watched that game. We're going to talk about it. That ain't going to fucking cut it. That is not going to cut it. All these penalties, the Chargers will shred you. So I'm happy that the defense got fixed and is at least looks way better. But the two problems for the rest of the team that have existed all year because the defense looks so good were in front full fucking focus. That being said, you need to chill out. If you're not on the Lamar train, fine, but get the fuck off. Get off. If you're not a Lamar fan, you're not a Lamar fan. That's fine. If you're not a Ravens fan, you're not a Ravens fan. That's fine. But don't sit here and tell me he's the clear MVP all year, and then his O-line fucking lets him down, and now, well, he's just an average player, and the Steelers know how to stop him. Calm the fuck down. He's a 2-time MVP for a reason. He's a great quarterback. I'm not saying the Steelers don't have his number.
I was gonna say
I'm not saying that's not true. But the disrespect is unnecessary. And it's inaccurate. It's inaccurate.
he's
Okay?
only so this is his thing. There's only 2 teams that he played
The
twice in his
Steelers and the
career
Chiefs.
that he cannot physically.
It's the
He's
Steelers and the Chiefs.
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
For
I know.
whatever reason, Mike Tomlin has his number.
And I'm
I,
not saying there aren't fair criticisms. But it's like we put him up so high And then when a game doesn't go his way, we just want to tear him apart. Whereas everyone else, we kind of give a pass when they don't play well. Oh,
We'll
you
talk
lose.
about one, but
Yeah. Want to guess what never comes up? Well, he just sucks against this team. Chill. He loses to this team every year. Down the line, it doesn't matter. Guess what? For the Ravens, down the line, doesn't fucking matter.
it's
Doesn't
all
matter. So I will be very interested and because this year he will play them at home in Baltimore. I'm very excited for that game. I want to see how that goes. And does this team fix its mistakes?
we
But to
will
me,
see.
that's the massive takeaway. It defense played great, so the other problems with this team were just fully on display. And they were glaring.
Yeah.
Um Players, the whole defense.
Okay.
Offensively, nobody. Special teams, nobody. Defensively, they had an all around phenomenal game. They had a phenomenal game. Interceptions, sacks, everything. It was great. And I'm very proud and very happy of that for them. Um like I said in my preview video, I do think this eliminates the third MVP. That's okay. I don't really care. He doesn't really care. I care more about a Super Bowl. But at least for right now, I do think he is still first in odds. You can't not win your division. You have to win your division at minimum.
Yeah. The
And unless something drastic happens, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Probably not. You still thankfully play them again.
Yeah, I think if
So
they split, maybe, but as of right now, I think no. Injury news. I know, look, the Steelers game is a physical one. Um, it's a violent game. A lot of punches were thrown, a lot of just it's a physically hard fought game. We saw several people go down. I don't have a ton of news on where they're at, but I will go through them really quickly. Roquan, it was his hamstring. I thought that was weird. I thought it was a concussion. But still no news. Kane, who was escorted off the field and was in a walking boot, we're waiting on an MRI. They are not expecting to put Arthur Millette on IR, but he is week to week at this point. And then Michael Pierce should be back this season, just not sure when. So this is the name of the game with Steelers Ravens. It's physical, it's low scoring. Hopefully the next game just tilts in the Ravens' favor, but they gotta clean up the penalties. No penalties, no problem. And the fucking kicks. I'm switching jerseys next week. Switching jerseys. We gotta do something with the juju here.
for
I
anyone
don't know what's
wondering
happening.
why she brings it up, there's a curse, we call it, in our family, where whenever you buy a jersey, that player either leaves. So I bought this last year. Bobby Wagner. I thought he was going to retire, which is why I bought it. Turns out he just goes to the Commanders. Fair enough. Extend your career one more year. Whatever. I was fine with that. But there's a curse in my family where if you buy a jersey of a player, they either suck after you buy it or they leave. Those are the options. And we're seeing now.
At this point, I prefer Elite. I prefer Elite.
I think, yeah.
Look, Harbaugh talked about it. He said, no, there's currently no plans to sign a new kicker. They still believe in him. They haven't lost confidence. I'm fucking glad that's working for somebody because I've lost all confidence. I'm pretty pissed off. So yeah, I will be switching jerseys next week to someone that has already retired, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But that is the context on why she's switching jerseys.
Pissed off.
Because yeah. All right.
Yeah,
On to
I just do. I'm annoyed at the narrative.
fair
I get
enough.
it. He loses to the Steelers, but that doesn't make him just now some shitty average quarterback.
No.
Like And his like you can only overcome so much. I don't know what you want the man to do with 10 fucking penalties on the O line.
I
Like
think there were other issues in the game, but the O line problems definitely weren't
it was the
great.
main one. He he forced the ball a couple times. I'm not
I was
gonna say
like,
that's not true.
it was not
I'm not
his
saying
best
there weren't
game.
problems. No, but seriously, when every big play you
But
have is wiped off the board,
that was my thing. I was like, there were other issues, but I do think a lot of it can be boiled down to the offensive line sucking. Because you look at it,
like
you start getting pissed off that you can't do anything. You start feeling
yeah,
like you got to afford. Like I get it. Still wasn't his best, but I mean, like a lot of that
no.
still boils down to the offensive line.
And you saw it when the O line held up. He had good plays. They had good drives. The moment
So
that O line went to shit, and then there were times he thought, okay, it's going to be a close game. At least I have a kicker. At least we're going to get some points. Oh shit, never mind.
yeah, so unfortunate loss. Unfortunate loss.
Unfortunate loss. We're moving on.
Fair enough.
Nothing to do. I predicted this. It was closer than I thought it was going to be. I thought Russell
That's
Wilson was going to shred my secondary. He did not. So he
there you
had one
go.
big play
There you go.
and still was not giving up a touchdown. So go defense.
Yeah,
All right. Do you, on a positive note, you want to talk Seahawks 49ers?
yeah, because holy shit, they won a game, guys. Seahawks at 49ers 20-17. Um, get the win. Yay. Um, huge win. I do think this kind of keeps their season alive. Um, I think if you lose this game, it's very hard to make the playoffs afterwards. You would be last in your division. The division's only getting better at the current moment. The NFC's already kind of been decided on wild cards in a way. It would just take a lot for them to end up making the playoffs from there. They still have a really difficult schedule where they have to play five, three division games left. They have three division games left: two against the Cardinals, who are leading the division, one against the Rams. So at this point, three of your last couple games are division opponents, and the rest of them, I believe, are on the road, barring a couple. I think they have two more home games left,
Oh
and one of
shit.
them is a division opponent. Other than that, it's road. So very difficult schedule remaining for Seahawks. So they kind of needed this win in order to like keep themselves alive, and they got it. Um, Starting with the defense looked really good. They looked physical. They looked fast. They looked ready. Obviously, we're coming off the bye week. They looked rested. They looked ready to go. Very different from the last time we played the 49ers, in which they had no rest, nothing. So for this one to come out, look the way they did, I thought it was great. Um, like from Devin Witherspoon flying around, causing a pass breakup that led to an interception, to Ernest Jones stopping McCaffrey on the ground, to the D line getting some good sacks, some good pressure. The whole defense I thought just played really well. There was one issue in with the defense. Jennings seemed to be the only person on San Francisco's offense that could do anything, and he was doing it the whole night. That is a coverage thing. He is their number one target going into that game. Actually, no, he would be the number two going into that game. So some things there, like obviously they held David Samuel in check. He was pretty much non-existent the whole game. He had like one catch and like two rushes, but the two rushes didn't go anywhere. Kurt McCaffrey definitely looks like he was coming off the injury. Um, didn't really get anything going. Credit to the defense there. That was a key to the game I had, was you had to limit McCaffrey, and they successfully did it. They didn't let McCaffrey break anything big. They didn't let him really get going. which I thought was really a key to that game, and it was a success there. So yeah, defensively, I thought they played one of their best games. That is now 2 weeks in a row where you've held a Sean McVay offense to 13 points in regulation and a Kyle Shanahan offense to 17 points in regulation. That is great stuff for defense. This is the first time in quite a bit that the Seahawks have led or held a Shanahan offense to less than 20 points in a game. So, you know, McDonald is finally getting that defense to where he wants it. Um, you know, especially after we saw Terrell Dotson cut, all these changes. I do think they've made those changes and they've gotten better. So really good to see. Um, and just kind of exciting. You know, the defense starting to play well. We're starting to see where this team can go. On the offensive side, we'll start with the O line because there was some changes there. Abe Lucas came back from his injury, was on a snap count. Mike Jarrell, the rookie 6th round pick, was alternating with him for most of the game until he got to like the final little bit, and then it was all Lucas. I thought he played okay. Obviously, coming off a lengthy knee injury and having to go against Nick Bosa the whole day definitely isn't great. Um, I do have some things to comment on that, but yeah, having to go against Nick Bosa the whole or almost the whole day. Nick Bosa did end up leaving the game. I thought he held up okay, had moments, but obviously looked like a guy coming off of a big injury. And then at the center position was the other thing they had changed. I had talked about it in my preview this week, but the center, Connor Williams, had retired midway through the season, midway through the week. They have not released anything about it. It was for personal reasons. I don't imagine they will release anything unless he puts out a statement. Um, I'm not going to speculate on why he retired. He just retired. He will probably not be back, according to McDonald. So obviously they had to make a change. They went with Oluwatimi. Um, he, I thought, played a pretty solid game all around. I thought his pass blocking was significantly better than Williams. But for whatever reason, Oluwatimi wanted to channel Connor Williams maybe as a like one last send off, just in memory of Connor Williams and his time with the Seahawks, and snap the ball over Geno Smith's head. So, same issue there with the Seahawks ruining drives by snapping the ball over the quarterback's head. Um, Once again, Geno Smith was able to recover the football, so it only half ruined the drive. He didn't give the ball to the 49ers,
That's
but
something.
I mean, you still had to punt the ball away. But I would say it was an overall solid game from the offense if it wasn't for the fact that the only times they scored touchdowns was after Nick Bosa left the game. And in theory, they only scored points when Nick Bosa was off the field, which is sad.
Yeah.
Nick Bosa was wrecking the game. Obviously, he has the capability of doing that. Um, he leaves the game hurt. The offense finally kind of gets going. Um, Thankfully, they did get going. Geno Smith wins the game with his legs. We talk about it. The best quarterbacks, game on the line, they get it done, and they get it done themselves if they have to. And he did. He saw an opening and channeled his prime Lamar Jackson skills and just ran. That is his
I'm
like.
glad somebody did it successfully.
I had to bring it up
Because
since that.
Lamar Jackson did not.
I was gonna say the only reason I did that was because he failed. But yeah, so Geno Smith gets the win. Um, Finally beats the 49ers, which he has not done in his career. Um, I definitely think this game just meant more to him since he hadn't done it yet in his career. I think you could see by the emotion after the touchdown and kind of the celebration that followed. So I'm kind of happy for him that he finally got that weight off his back, considering you've played them 6 times now with Seattle, and you beat them once, but still, you got the win.
Yeah.
Big win. That's about all I can say on it. Um, the offense overall, like I said, played, I guess, solid. Walker got a touchdown, and Gino had the other one, and they had two field goal or a couple field goals in there. Um, Overall solid. Metcalf came back this week, did Metcalf things, definitely opened up the offense. Um, that is, I think, the main thing with him is it doesn't necessarily mean he has to catch every pass, but with
Yeah.
him on the field, it just makes defenses have to focus on
You
him,
have
and
to focus on him. It pulls.
and
It
then
pulls.
I think we're finally starting to see Tyler Lockett get like shoved off this offense. It's sad, it is, but at this point, he's out there and he's not even really seeing the ball. I think he had 2 catches for like 13 yards this game,
Oh, damn.
which for Lockett is like nothing. So I think we're finally starting to see Njigba kind of take over, and we're kind of seeing that passing of the torch, which I think we were going to see anyway this year. I think he's going to retire at the end of this year because I'm pretty sure his contract, he has like 1 year left after this, but it's non-guaranteed. So I kind of think this is his last season. He's been talking about retirement
Yeah.
more. So I think this really is the last season for Lockett. Sad to see him go, but at the same time, he's given Seattle some pretty solid years. And I think this game was really like the first one that you noticed, like
Yeah.
he's kind of he's kind of
Falling off.
yeah. Um, Offensive player, I'm gonna give it to Gino. He did have a really bad interception. Trying to force the ball downfield. I understand at that point they were losing and the offense couldn't get anything going. So he tries to force it down the field on the run and overthrows it straight to the safety. The thought process was, I guess, okay, but trying to force the ball in the situation you were, it just wasn't the play. But when it mattered the most, you put the team on your back and you got the touchdown to win it. So at the end of the day, I just have to give it to him. And there was
Yeah.
just nobody else on that offense that I thought played spectacularly. Obviously, DK did his thing. Smith and Jigba did his thing. Walker got a touchdown, but I didn't think anyone had like a outstanding game on offense. And then defensively, I could have picked so many people. I could have picked Devin Witherspoon. I thought he had a great game. Had the pass deflection leading to the interception. But I went with Ernest Jones. This is the second week in a row. I'm going Ernest Jones. He is a revelation at the linebacker position. It reminds me a lot of what the Ravens did that year with McDonald, where they got Roquan Smith midway through the season, and that defense just completely changed. I think you're
Yeah.
seeing that here. I'm not saying Ernest Jones is Roquan Smith, first of all, before
I
anyone comes at me. But I think the impact he's having on the season is similar to the impact Roquan Smith had on that season for the Ravens.
yeah. Just that injection of life and energy
Yeah,
and drive.
yeah. So great to see. Had 13 tackles, 7 of them were for 3 yards or less, which against that team in their run game is incredible. He was playing out of his mind, and I think you really saw this defense step up with him leading and wearing the dot and being the main guy on that defense. So he's my defensive player of the week. I thought he
Fun
played great.
fact, Roquan had 13 tackles and he didn't play the whole game.
There you go.
So,
But yeah, like I was saying, I think Ernest Jones just has that like it factor at the linebacker position for the Seahawks. So, you know, great to
yeah.
see. Great trade so far. They just need to re-sign him. They just need to ink a contract, which I think they will. It sounds like both parties want one. I know that's been a big thing recently, especially after the trade. It sounds like both want a long term deal. Obviously, Jones was traded twice in 3 months, um, and that is with a newborn baby that is 4 months old.
I'm sure the wife's thrilled.
Yeah,
I'm sure
that
she's
was
loving this.
that was his first press conference. Was they asked her like, "Do you want to make this long term?" He's like, "Yeah." Because on the plane right here, I had the wife and the 3 month old or 4 month old baby, and I was like, I can't do this again. So I'm like,
Oh, that's fair.
makes it
That's
easy for
fair. That's
Seattle
a shitty.
to get a deal done, keep him here long term. Um, so yeah, exciting things on the injury front. No one seemed to get injured in that game. No one left the game injured, which is huge news for the Seahawks. Obviously, going into the game, they were without Noah Fant, Brady Russell, like I had mentioned. Noah Fant has now missed 2 games in a row, but they are not putting him on IR. They are not expected to put him on IR. That's really the only news I have for you. We'll kind of see. I'm expecting him to be back for the Cardinals next week, but we'll see. Might take one more week. But yeah, big win for the Seahawks. Great game. Um, Definitely wasn't expecting a win. Definitely did not predict a win,
Yeah.
but thoroughly
So
excited to get a win.
no, definitely. So I didn't watch this game
Yeah,
in real time. I did go back, and I thought the Seahawks played well. I'm not trying to discredit that or discount that at all. I do think what's important to note is all we heard all year was, man, y'all just wait till Christian McCaffrey comes back. Y'all just wait. Doesn't seem to have mattered. Like, we have talked about the concerns
yeah.
with the 49ers at coaching, at age, at this team's propensity for injury. Um, and in the past, the superstardom and the powers that be, all of those things didn't matter. It's been enough to propel them forward.
Yeah, and I do think I forgot to mention this. They were without Kittle this game.
Yeah,
Take that with what take that for
but
what you will.
when
You don't have Kittle and you don't have Bosa
like
and McCaffrey isn't right still with the injury. Trent
like
Williams
you
was hurt coming into the game.
yeah,
You don't
you're
have
missing
Ayuk.
Ayuk. Like
Debo
you just
is
look average. You look
yeah.
average at best. And so
I will say I do
I think
think
everyone kind of talked about like this was going to be the 49ers kind of final ride because next year they'd have to pay Purdy. I think it was last year. I
I
think
do
this
think yeah.
year it's time to start looking at rebuilding your team. Pay a lot of people, like maybe clean up your cap.
I
I
don't think
just
they're
think
re-signing Debo.
no, no.
Part of me's like you just re-signed Williams, but he might not have long left. I
I
don't know
think it
when.
was just to get him some money for this year. I don't think they added anything to his contract.
Okay, either way, I don't know how much more he's got in him.
Yeah.
I don't know what Kittle's contract situation looks like or Bosa's contract situation looks like, but you're rolling down the tracks and you just re-signed one of your corners. So I
Yeah.
think it was honestly a really good deal for them. But I mean, like you're still you're starting to have to pay people, and
And so I
Purdy
just
is right there.
yeah. I think I think the 49ers of old are gone
Fair enough.
and changes have to come.
I I've had this take forever, but I do think this also kind of shows that Shanahan isn't the offensive mind and the offensive coach people think he is.
I heard a take that I found interesting. When Shanahan started, it it was brilliant and nobody knew what to do with it. Now about half the league runs his offense. McVay, McDaniel, they all come from a Shanahan tree.
McVay, once again, is not a Shanahan tree.
I swear to God, he is.
He's not. He coached with him, not under him.
They coach
Doesn't
together.
doesn't
Whatever.
count.
He runs that style of offense. They run a similar offense.
They run a similar offense, but McVay's is very different.
So stay with me here. So there's Shanahan's style, which about half the league runs at this point.
Yeah,
Half the league sees it all the time. But people like McVay and McDaniel have been able to evolve it.
yeah.
Shanahan is still running the same offense he came up with years ago that now nobody is surprised by.
Look,
Nobody's caught off guard anymore.
I will say he's
You
still one of the.
add,
Oh,
go ahead.
he's still one of the best at getting the best out of running backs. I will admit, like some of his run schemes are still some of the best out there, but that's really it.
I'm not saying it's not like good, that it's not a good offense, but it no longer has the impact it used to.
Yeah,
Yeah, you add a Christian McCaffrey, like that's going to be hard to deal with. You add a Saquon Barkley, that's hard to deal with. But when your offense doesn't evolve, but your team is getting older, your team is getting more injury prone, you become more reliant on specific positions or specific people.
yeah.
This is what you get.
It the 49ers are a weird one, and I've always thought Shanahan's a little overrated as a head coach. I think we're kind of starting to see that now. He's one that is in no shape or form on the hot seat, and
No.
probably won't be until that team shits the bed, like really shits the bed. I'm talking like a 2-win season, which that team will never win less than two or less than like 5 games.
I
Um,
sincerely doubt it.
but I've always thought he's kind of just not a good head coach, or just not as good as people think he is. You
Well, that's
can't
like what
have
I'm saying is I just don't think the offense like I think it's good. I'm not saying it's not. But I think it's become slightly outdated and it's overrated.
yeah. No, I don't agree with that. And yeah, he as a head coach is just over. Like you can't have the record you do, blowing leads. You can't get over the Super Bowl hump, and it's always because of I feel like you in a way.
Yeah.
Like last Super Bowl doesn't know the rules for overtime in the Super Bowl. Inexcusable.
Yeah.
Inexcusable. The year prior, like you blow the lead, yet do all these things. Like, can't keep getting away with it.
No, I agree. I
But
agree. But yeah, I, at the end of the day, good for the Seahawks.
hey,
Get
you beat a
back to
team
that
that
win
you
column.
haven't been able to beat in like 4 years. So
Yeah,
figure,
somebody's doing it.
yeah,
Somebody's
you're doing something.
so, and like you said, like you had a new head coach, you have new a lot, so to just get back into the win column is a good thing.
Yeah.
Get be building on the things that you're doing well and eliminating the things you're not.
So I do have another thing because I've this has been coming up a lot for the Seahawks, and you mentioned like new head coach, and it kind of sparked this train of thought. And I want to do it real quick.
Yeah.
People have been calling for Schneider's head because of how this free agency has gone. I understand you've now cut Terrell Dodson, traded Jerome Baker. Pharaoh Brown is like your third string tight end. You've now lost Connor Williams to retirement. You've had so many other people not make it that you've signed in free agency. I'm not saying any of that's not true. I believe the total number of free agents, I had it somewhere, but I'm not going to go find it. So you've had all these free agents that are now gone, haven't played well, all these things. And people are like, Schneider's lost his touch. Schneider isn't the GM we thought he was. And I would like to remind people that this coaching staff was put together in February. Actually, really March. This was post Super Bowl where they hired everybody. They hired McDonald and then they hired his staff. The staff was not involved in the free agency process, like at all. They were in the building, but they were more focused on building a playbook, becoming a real staff. They let Schneider make decisions on what he thought was best for this game with limited information. Did he get it wrong? Yes. But I would like you to try to have a success rate of above 50% when you're trying to pick players that you've never seen for a coaching staff that you don't know what they want. That's my point here. They've identified who they want in Ernest Jones, got him, and look what they've done.
Yeah.
That's my only point.
What I think, all valid points. I think the important thing, so often coaches and GMs get in their ego of like, we made this trade, we drafted this person, we did whatever, and we're sticking to it. Doesn't matter. So the fact that Schneider's been like, look, this was the decisions made, this is the team I built, but now the staff is telling me, hey, we need to make changes, and we are willingly doing that, and you're getting better, he gets credit for that. He gets credit for being willing and being able to make these moves since then. It's not just about what you do in the offseason. It's like you make choices based off how you think a team is going to look. I can point to multiple teams that made decisions based off how they thought they would look moving forward. And I can assure you there were significantly stupider decisions made than anything the Seahawks did.
That's yeah.
Like I can
But
point to several.
and I will say like the draft class is starting to look like okay. His offensive line philosophy is completely stupid. But I will say it's gotten better. He's trying.
Yeah.
He did, and I do think there's still room for improvement, but we'll get there. That's all I want to say.
Like of all the GMs, I don't think yours should be
I don't know.
because you're not seeing his ego. If we were living and dying by these decisions, okay, maybe. But some people thought Saquon Barkley wasn't worth the money. Some people thought Derrick Henry wasn't worth the money. Um, some people thought Daniel Jones was the starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't tell you people. Like, you're unhappy with Schneider. Like, it could be worse.
I'm not unhappy with Schneider.
Like,
I'll make that clear. But there have been Seahawks fans that have been
like,
up in
I think
arms.
this year Ravens fans are unhappy with some of the decisions their GM made. Like, you can't point me to a team that's not like, except for maybe the Eagles and the 49ers. You're not sitting there going, could we have done things differently? Probably.
If I'm the 49ers, I wish I didn't pay Ayuk.
I think that. I think that.
But, yeah.
But, like, no team is perfect. I think the Eagles is about as close as you come right now.
And they have so many other issues.
Yeah.
Coaching is a huge one.
I think here's the thing. This is another one of those where I have this like take, but I have no evidence really to support it. But I don't think I'm wrong. It's gonna be interesting. I'm not gonna seriously get into it right now. The Ravens play the Eagles in 2 weeks, and we will see.
I don't think the Eagles are as good as they are.
No,
I do think Sirianni's
I
not
felt
a good.
that way. 2 years ago.
Okay, up and down, I look at their roster and I think they have one of the best rosters in the league. I think
Far and away.
the two positions or the two things that are holding them back is Jalen
Quarterback and
Hurts
coach.
and Nick Sirianni.
I think that everyone wants to ask the question, who is Brock Purdy without the Avengers? I think he's not the only NFC quarterback that needs to be asked about. Because who are you without your wide receivers
AJ Brown,
or
Devonta Smith, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goddard.
the
That
best O lines in the NFL? Who are you without those people? So I'm not saying that like other teams don't have a weapon or weapons, but when your team is that stacked, it makes you look better than you are. It has the ability to make you look better than you are. And Sirianni continues to make weird ass decisions. Like I don't know what that man's doing, and I don't think he knows what he's doing.
probably not.
So, but it's covered up by the fact that they're winning.
Yeah.
So
You
I
want
just
to
don't. I think getting into playoffs, we shall see.
talk Bengals Chargers?
Sure. So my game. Nope. Let's just give me a second. Okay. So Sunday night football. Yeah. Um, was Bengals at Chargers. My game of the week. Chargers won 34-27. I'm not really gonna talk about the Bengals. They are. I've talked about them plenty on this fucking podcast. I've talked about them plenty in previews. I don't care. They're not a good team. Defense sucks. Moving on with our lives. Chargers. I feel like personally, I have never given Herbert any kind of credit for anything. Um, not for like lack of willingness, but simply because they've never been a great team. They've never been a great organization. Um, so I just don't ever really watch Herbert. They're just like this team in the AFC I don't really worry about. Um, it's just that's just fact.
They
Like I
just
don't think
exist.
about it a whole ton. Yeah, like they're just there. Um, watching them was actually really exciting. I give Herbert a lot. He's way more talented than I thought he was. Like that was crazy.
Yeah.
The speed at which that ball not comes out of his hand because like get the ball out in under 6. The time it takes to travel the field wasn't. I thought I was watching baseball.
When I
Like
tell you
he
that
has
he has the
a hell of an arm.
I think he has the best arm in the NFL.
Um, and then he runs more than I thought he did. Like he looks a little more like Josh Allen. Um, I thought they played great. I am excited for the Ravens Chargers matchup. I think Jim Harbaugh's doing a great job with this team. I think they just look really good on both sides of the ball. I'm really happy for J.K. Dobbins that he's had a healthy season, that he's playing well. It very much looks like the 2019 Ravens. Um, there's definitely elements of that with Greg Roman and all of these things, but I just think this team is playing really well. They're definitely playing better than I know a lot of people thought they were going to. Um, watching them, they're definitely a playoff team. I don't think they will right now. I don't think they will this year. But I think next year they have a chance to really challenge Kansas City. And the thing I'm really excited about is when Tom Brady ran through his dynasty, both of them, his division was just kind of shitty. It's like me versus Nobody. I win the division. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes walks into the league and goes, I own my division. The rest of you are just here. Thank you. Have a great day. Goodbye. Josh Allen walks in, owns his division. The rest of you are just here. And not because they're not good, but because they're crap. They're absolutely shit.
Yeah.
Like, the other teams in their divisions are garbage. So, to the Ravens' credit, they actually are the only one of a top tier in the AFC that have to fight for their division. So, I'm just going to say that. Watching the Chargers play, I was like, holy shit, I think the Chiefs and like what I think the Broncos can be. They're actually going to have to fight for their division, and I'm going to relish in it. It's not so easy when everybody else around you sucks and you're guaranteed to win your division. Just so we're clear. Just so we're clear. Sometimes when you play in the most physical division in the NFL, you fucking lose games. It happens. It's fine though. You're right. He's trash and should just be a wide receiver. Anyway, I was excited to see it. I thought they played really well. I think defensively they got a little off the ball. Like the first half was just all Chargers. Second half they let it get away from a little bit. But that final drive, go down, fucking JK with the touchdown. It was great, and I'm really excited to play them Monday. I think it'll be fun to see the Harbaugh brothers go at it. They are so different, yet so alike. It's crazy.
It's a little weird.
Like, it's the weirdest thing that I'm like, I see it. You are clearly related. And I don't mean like physically, like you can see that like but in their personalities, but one of them is excited all the time. A lot of energy, very happy. Harbaugh looks like someone shot his dog at every point. Whether they're winning, losing, it doesn't matter.
You do realize when you're talking about two Harbaughs, you can't just go, one of them
Yeah,
looks like happy.
so,
Harbaugh
so,
looks like someone shot him. Or shot his
so
dog.
Jim, the Chargers head coach, is excited all the time, very
Yes.
energetic. And
I know
John
who
looks
you're
like
talking
someone
about.
shot his dog. They are, however, I think the best hype men I have ever seen. Like I Pete Carroll was great, and he was great at getting a team excited, and he has a lot of energy. And Belichick was great at telling you were fucking up. But Harbaugh, nope. John and Jim, I think, are both so good at talking up the right guys in the right moments. And in a way that you're mildly uncomfortable, but you're here for it. If you listen to Jim Harbaugh talk about Justin Herbert, you're kind of uncomfortable. You're kind of like, are you trying to adopt this man? Are you trying to get him to marry one of your children? What's going on here? Like, it's a little weird. It's a little weird. But you're here for it. You're like, man, he really believes in his guy. He's getting the best out of him. He's getting the most of him. John Harbaugh got on a podium and went, Lamar Jackson is the greatest football player of all time, and the world's going to recognize that. That statement makes you mildly uncomfortable. You're like, I don't think that we understand the words coming out of our mouth, but you're here for it. Like, they're so different, but they're so alike. It was crazy to watch. I'm really excited for 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bengals suck. I don't care. Probably gonna miss the playoffs. Good luck with your life.
Fair enough.
I feel bad for Joe Burrow.
I feel bad for him and Chase at this point.
Yeah,
Also,
like
the Bengals are a bunch of fucking idiots for not paying Jamar Chase earlier. But
they're
I
stupid.
digress.
They have no concept about money.
Bro,
And
had you paid him before this season, you would have got him for significantly cheaper than you have to pay him now because holy
well,
shit.
and you could have paid other people. You could have kept other people because you're not paying anyone but Joe Burrow right now. But instead, we cut half the team that was worth a shit to be like, oh, well, eventually we're going to have a cap problem. Why? Eventually we're going to have to pay Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Okay, why'd you cut Joe Mixon? Well, remember, eventually we're going to have to, but you haven't yet. So what's the problem?
And
Why'd you cut Jesse Bates? Well, eventually we might have to pay people. What the fuck? What are you talking about?
the Joe Mixon one, man. He just put
Like,
up 3 touchdowns last night.
yeah,
And
like
he's been one of the
you
best
look,
running backs in the league this year.
you look stupid. You look stupid
I've
and cheap.
okay. It's funny that the 3 best running backs in the league this year all signed with new teams.
Yeah,
Saquon,
and
Derek,
they all signed
Mixon.
with teams because of money,
Yeah.
except for Derek. Derek wanted to win,
Yeah.
but Saquon left the Giants because they couldn't afford to pay him when the only person they're paying is Daniel Jones. And the Eagles are paying literally everybody and the mafia, I'm pretty confident. So, like you have too stacked of a team. Like I think there's some weird book things happening here. But oh yeah, we have 30 million for Saquon, obviously. And you're like, wait, the Bengals can't pay Joe Mixon, but you can pay. How?
And when the NFL looks at
Cowboys
it,
are like,
it just has like a picture
yeah,
of like the whoever's investigating. It's just like a picture of their wife and child being held by the
just in
mafia.
the block.
Yeah, and it's like looks good to me.
It's good. Yeah. On point. On point. They converted it to a signing bonus. It's fine. A whole 30 million? Let's sure. Okay. But like it's crazy to me that like you don't I get it that some teams are richer than others. I understand that. But at the end of the day, you're all working with the same amount of cap. So how do the Eagles exist and the Cowboys exist and the Cowboys are telling me they have a cap problem? What? Please point it out to me because you couldn't afford 8 million for Derrick Henry?
Apparently not.
The Giants couldn't afford Saquon?
Apparently not.
How? What what are you doing?
Don't know, man.
And then
I
yeah,
just
mix it like the Bengals. I just do. I think they created this problem that they were eventually going to have to solve. So they solved the problem before it was actually a problem.
yeah.
They were like, we could have a cap problem. Okay. So we're going to cut all these guys. We're going to let all these guys go. But you don't have a cap problem yet, but we might. What the fuck?
Just stupid. Just stupid.
And then Joe Burrow's sitting there going, yeah, I know I'm having a great statistical year, but going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah. Would be
It's
in the
fine.
running for MVP
Yeah.
if,
I think he would be winning it. Maybe not if you'd still lost to Lamar.
but even if you were like above 500, I think you'd be in the conversation.
Yeah. But you can't be with a fucking
Losing record.
4-7.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Like that's insane. That's insane.
But yeah.
So, all right. Well, moving on to the other exciting game of the week. Do you
Yeah.
want to talk to
So
us about Chiefs Bills?
we got Chiefs at Bills. The Bills won I don't have the score for some reason. Bills won 30-21. Okay. We got Chiefs at Bills. Bills won 30-21. Chiefs finally lost the game. Good. Can't go undefeated. Don't have to listen to that. Love to see it. That's really my biggest takeaway. Chiefs lost. Uh, just a couple other things. Going back to kind of Dallas's Lamar Jackson thing. I have not been looking a ton in the media the past couple days, but I don't feel like it's been talked about how bad Mahomes was in this game. I don't want to say how bad, but he did not help his team win, and I feel like he might have cost his team the game. You throw a terrible interception in the first little bit of the game. Okay, you have plenty of time to make up for it. Then that last interception, man. I understand you're losing. You got to start like pushing the ball down the field. And I will say the defender made a pretty solid play. But like, damn. Didn't have a great game. Definitely wasn't great. So, for no one to really be talking about the fact that he lost and it's nothing currently, a little weird to me, but whatever. One loss on the season. He does
I
kind of
have a
reserve
thought on that.
he does kind of reserve the right to be like, all right, you lost the game, whatever. But whatever. And then on the Bills side, you won the game. Go you. Josh Allen gets it done finally against Mahomes. Um, I will say it was kind of telling at the end of the game. Bills need a score to go up by multiple possessions, and Josh Allen did it himself. He did it himself in one of the biggest moments of the season. We have talked. The best
Yeah,
quarterbacks get the job done if they
in
have
those
to.
moments.
Yeah, and they'll do it themselves if they have to. So that was big from him. I will say the one interception he threw was, I mean, was terrible.
It was bad.
It was
It
probably
was
the
bad.
worst. It was probably the worst interception of the season. I'm gonna, because he's been really good this season about not throwing interceptions. That one was
Yeah,
bad.
it's like 2 interceptions.
Yeah, it was. Because there was just no thought process that you could have walked me through that. I'd be like,
No,
okay,
no.
it was bad. It was bad, but you got the win, so fair enough. And that's really it. I I only really cared about this game to see if KC lost. They did. They can't go undefeated. We don't have to listen to that bullshit anymore. I'm happy. I'm pretty much content. Josh
No, still
Allen,
keep hearing about the fucking 3P though.
well, that's
I
always gonna
can't.
be
They can't win this one. They can't. It doesn't even have to be the Ravens. I don't even fucking care. I
just
don't even fucking
the
care. They
just
can't win this one.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm just happy. Got the job done. Josh Allen did enough to win. Casey didn't. I was happy. That's all I need.
So, here was my thought. Josh Allen typically beats the Chiefs in the regular season.
Yes.
He's like 4-1 against him in the regular season, and then crap in the he's never beat him once in the playoffs.
Okay.
The thought I've had, or the thought I had, was I feel like right now you talk about teams they get the best version of you because you're trying really hard to play up to that team, right? You want to beat
Yeah.
them. I think right now the Chiefs get the scared version of everyone of like, oh my god, give him 13 seconds and they'll win. You know what I mean? I'm not saying they don't get like a hard fought version, but I think it's a scared. I think these teams often play the Chiefs a little scared. I think because the Bills have beaten the Chiefs in the regular season, the Bills don't have that fear. They're like, we can win, we will win, we're just going to go in there and play our best football. So then all of the problems that Mahomes has had this season with the interceptions, the not great play, it's kind of like the Ravens game where I started. Now it's on display. It's like you can't overcome these things
Yeah.
when you're playing a team that isn't afraid of you.
And I guess back to that is a good point with like taking it back to Steelers Ravens. I'm not gonna say
The
this.
Steelers aren't afraid of the Ravens.
Yeah,
Like when you step on the field with the Ravens, defenses look at Lamar and go,
but with TJ
"What do we
Watt,
do?" Yeah, and then TJ Watt steps on the field and goes, "What now, bitch?" Like there's a lack of fear.
yeah,
So then the mistakes you have or the problems you have in your team are just put on display. And I think that was the case for Chiefs Bills. Was the
yeah,
Bills
no,
stepped on the
100%.
field unafraid of Patrick Mahomes, unafraid of Travis Kelsey, unafraid of Chris Jones, and went, "Come at me." And the Chiefs went, "Okay, here's our best football of the year, which is 2 interceptions. The defense not playing great, and we can't overcome because you're not scared."
No,
So
yeah, that's
I do. I think it holds true for the Ravens Steelers game as well. Is
that's a great.
defenses often look at Lamar and go, "Fuck."
And it's the same with Mahomes.
Yeah,
And I do think
and
you're right. I do think the Bills just went out there and went,
we are not afraid. We don't. We do this to you all the time. We beat you in the regular season. This is not a big deal. Like,
no, that's fair. That's a great
and we
point.
don't want to keep fucking hearing about your damn undefeated either.
Yeah,
Like,
no, that's a great point.
we'll deal with you. Someone, hopefully, will deal with you in the playoffs. We don't really care who, but yeah, like I don't
Somebody.
think I think there's a level of like having their number of like, okay, the Bills just know Patrick Mahomes, so the Steelers just know Lamar. But I think it's a lack of fear. It's a lack of because we have gotten the best of you, we can. So we don't play like this is who we are, this is how we play, and either it works or it doesn't. And for the Bills and the Steelers, it worked.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point, and definitely something you kind of see, or I thought you see, because I think the Bills just kind of came out with so much confidence
Yeah,
that just didn't matter.
yeah. No, I completely agree. And I think that first interception
Yeah,
was like a
we got you.
okay, like we can do this. Like we're not afraid. You've made mistakes all year. We'll capitalize. Like every streak the Chiefs had going for them. Number of points given up, largest deficit to overcome that they didn't. All of these things were just smacked. Like I know it's not points wise a massive win, but every implication and every streak the Chiefs had going, the Bills just destroyed.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely, definitely game for the Bills to remember. Of like you can't win in there,
Yeah,
zero fear, got the win, prevented the Chiefs from being undefeated. So we all kind of thank you for it.
we appreciate you.
Yeah,
I I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna get it out.
all right.
I was wrong.
Oh,
Um,
you're willing to admit it? I'm kind of
the
surprised.
Bills this year.
Okay.
Um, I think
I'm still not entirely convinced yet.
I don't think. Here's the thing. Everyone's like they're clearly a top contender in the AFC. I am not saying that,
Okay.
but I had them in fucked all hell. Can't win it if it's rigged. Maybe still not. We'll see what you do in the playoffs. but you are better than I thought you were this year.
Fair enough.
I
Yeah.
was not giving any credit when you okay, the Lions. Let's talk about the Lions really quickly. Are a great team, and they've proven they're a great team. I don't think you get extra credit for smacking the shit out of Mac Jones and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
Like you don't like you won.
You took care of
52
business.
points on this terrible team is not that's not something to like have a parade over. And that's what I felt about Buffalo. Was you could smack bad teams but then got smacked by good teams. So the fact that you went into Kansas City and you won tells me I don't think you're a fake playoff team. I don't know that you have the roster to make a deep playoff run. But I do think this team is better than I was giving them credit for.
Yeah.
And
I
Josh Allen is a top 5 quarterback. And I've never not said that, by the way. I've never not said that. I just disagree with where he is in the top 5.
I can make
Just
an
so we're clear.
argument that he's now at the top this season.
I
I
think if you rank it based off this season, I definitely think he's 1 or 2.
I think I know it's not Lamar's fault,
This game
but
fucked him.
now that he's lost 4 games, Allen's lost 4 games, but he's also beaten the Chiefs. Something Mahomes couldn't do this year. Or something Lamar couldn't do this year.
But Lamar smacked the crap out of Josh Allen.
Yeah. That is fair. Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know that either one of them really has an edge then.
Fair, yeah. I kind of
If
forgot that
like
they played.
yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah.
So I think he's played well. He's definitely limited the interceptions and he's doing more with less. We'll see what they can do. This isn't meant to be a dig. I feel like it's going to sound like one. But when you are a good team with a great quarterback and you live in the space the Bills and the Chiefs live in, which is our division sucks, we are always guaranteed a playoff berth. I care less about what you do in the regular season. I really do. It doesn't matter. You're going to win games. You're going to have a winning record. Not to blow smoke, the Ravens have a serious challenge every year to get to the playoffs or to be a top 4 seed. That's hard to do. When you have to go through the fucking Steelers, when you have to go through the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, so I put more stock in the Ravens season and how they improve or don't throughout the versus what the Bills and the Chiefs do. You're pretty much you can't not because you're going to smack your division.
Yeah.
I do think the next couple of years will be very interesting in the AFC West because the Broncos are coming alive, the Chargers are coming alive, and it is not going to be a guaranteed the
Yeah.
Chiefs win their division.
Especially like
Moving forward.
we've already seen this Broncos team nearly beat the Chiefs. It
Yeah.
took a miracle. I don't want to say miracle because again, the Chiefs created their own luck.
You knew that line
Yeah,
was crap. You knew the opportunity you had.
and like you created your own luck.
But I think things in the AFC could get very interesting very quickly.
Yeah. Well, that's a conversation more for the following years, but I do think
Yeah. No,
it's gonna get interesting.
and that's why I do. Like that's why like right now like I'm not sitting here I'm not trying to dog on the Bills or Josh Allen. But I only put so much stock in their regular season.
And I'm gonna be honest, it's not gonna get much better in that division. Like
No.
Tua, your
So
only
I wait to
competition
see
is Tua and Dolphins, but all assumes Tua's healthy.
Yeah, and
Even
they
then,
they still didn't even look good when he was healthy in the first half of the season. They're coming around. I'm happy for him,
and
but
last year he was healthy the whole season, and they still couldn't get it done.
no. So I just am. I'm like, they have to learn how to play in the fucking cold.
I'm not saying this. I'm just
Yeah. No, I completely agree. So I just do. I don't put as much stock in it. I don't. We'll see
okay.
what you do
Fine.
in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
fair enough.
Like, we'll see how you're able to overcome whatever challenges you may have found that you had. Because it's hard to do when you don't have the toughest schedule.
Yeah,
Because 6 of your games are almost guaranteed wins. So even though you're playing a first place schedule, you still are in a shitty division.
yeah,
So it's just I just think I just don't. I don't put as much stock in either one of their regular seasons. It's hard to like not put stock in Kansas City's postseason, of course, but I will care more and I will have more of a formed opinion based off what Buffalo does in the postseason. I put more stock in the Ravens regular season just because it is way more difficult.
yeah. Fair enough.
Like the Seahawks, I think is a good. Your regular season is difficult. You have to deal with the 49ers.
Also, think
Like,
right now the NFC West is the only division of football that is still every team is at least 500.
yeah. I mean, the Browns just don't even.
Yeah,
But that's gonna be like for someone to win that division is gonna be a dogfight.
like right now the entire division is within half a game. The Seahawks can take the lead next week if they just beat the Cardinals. There's
Yeah,
like
like
all these things.
so I put so if you end the season 11-6 as the fifth or sixth seed, everyone's like, well, they were only 11-6. Okay, fight for their spot. Like it wasn't just we swatted 3 gnats and you know what I mean? Like it's different. It's different in a division where at least 2 or 3 of these divisions are good or teams are good.
Yeah,
When only one of you is worth a shit. Okay, go you.
you made it to the division.
Yeah, like when you're fighting the Rams and the 49ers every fucking year for a playoff spot. This year the Cardinals are good. That's hard to do.
Yeah,
You look at the Lions division. The Lions are a good team. The Packers are a good team.
the
Um,
Vikings are a good team.
Vikings are a good team. The Bears are trash. Fine, but it's a hard fought. Like you have to fight for it. You have to win it, not just we showed up.
Yeah,
AFC West champions, bitch. Shut up. Shut up. You didn't fight anybody.
it it will be interesting because the Chargers still have to play them twice,
I'm so excited.
and they still have to play the Broncos one more time.
Yeah. And Bo Nix is just getting better. He looked great
Yeah,
this week.
granted the Falcons kind of suck, but
Have their moments.
take that for what you. I don't know. There was a
Here's the
thing. There's a stat out there.
go ahead.
Kirk Cousins on the season. If you take away his games
Hmm.
against Tampa Bay, he has 8 passing touchdowns and over 900 yards passing. You take away
He
those
does.
2 games, and it's not even kind of
That's like some Joe Burrow shit right there.
yeah,
You take away the Ravens game, it's not as high.
yeah. So like this team is not
I
great.
Here's the thing. This was the argument. for Caleb Williams coming into the year was great team, great roster, and a super easy schedule in the front half. I feel like the Broncos are actually getting the best version of him during kind of the weaker portion of their schedule. While they saw some of the worst stuff, we were getting him started, getting him into the East, and now they're just
Building.
trekking along,
Yeah.
building on the fundamentals while he went through the shit.
The Bears took the wrong approach of you drafted a rookie quarterback that had issues, number one overall, to a head coach that sucks.
And an OC that's
And you hired an
big dumb.
OC that everybody, because it went there, pointed and went, don't do it. You could have called Seattle and been like, yo, what do you think? And they would have all been like,
Don't do
don't
it.
do it.
Gone now. Still lost to the Packers, but you know.
You almost won. You were this close. Fingertips away.
Which the Packers knew, by the way. They were like, yeah, he has to boot it kind of short. So they're obviously going to want to run another play, get him closer. And they went, now we're good. And the Packers went, okay. We'll just. No, thank you. So that was crazy.
Yeah. Second week in a row.
Like,
I don't know what's
it's
going
just been a weird couple of weeks for kickers. It's been a weird, like, McPherson missed a kick. Tucker missed several. Another blocked.
Brandon Aubrey missed a kick and then hit one from 64 that didn't count. Which, that pissed me off so much. I want to talk about the Cowboys real quick.
God.
They suck, okay? But they suck so much, by the way. In fantasy football this week, in my money league, this is to keep me with a chance to make the playoffs. I am now eliminated from playoff contention after this week
Oh,
because I
shit.
lost. I was up by 8 points going into Monday Night Football. The only thing my opponent had was Texans defense. Okay.
Yeah.
The shitty fucking Cowboys and inability to score points and that fumble six cost me my fantasy week.
Yep.
2 things. I was so pissed.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And what's worse is had you just kicked the field goal, the 64, you kicked the 64-yarder.
Mm-hmm.
They call the penalty. You get the ball back. You then drive it further down the field and then get stopped again and decide to go for it. Kick the fucking field goal. You're down 10. You have to get a field goal anyway. Kick the field goal. What are you doing? Because at that point, it was over. At that point, you lost.
Yeah.
You didn't get any points. You lost.
I don't think they're trying to win.
I don't think they are either. But if you're gonna,
I don't think that's the decision making that's happening.
The field goal. If you kick the field goal, you have a chance.
I do think. I was thinking about it. That, like,
I don't know. McCarthy's greatest fuck you to that team would be to win games. You're not going to be there next year anyway. You might as well fuck up the next guy's draft pick. Fuck it.
That's fair. I think as fun as, like, fantasy and all that stuff is, it's this weird disservice of football. Because every time, okay, I was thinking about this last week, the Ravens game. Everyone was fucking pissed because when the Ravens knelt down on the ball, it popped them under 100 yards of rushing. So betting odds, like, Lamar's, like, fantasy points, all of it were fucked because he lost this 1 yard. And I'm like, but it's a good thing but like we put so much on
See,
these things, and then like when teams are losing, we're like, okay, at least get us fucking fantasy points, and they're like, eh,
because
we don't care.
that was my bad. All you had to do, all you had to do was not fumble the ball and let them return it. Stupidest play I've ever seen in my life. Stupidest play. Stupidest thing. You get stripped. Your offensive lineman recovers it, and then the offensive lineman proceeds to think that he's prime Barry Sanders and can just run through a defense and gets lit up and immediately drops the football.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what?
I
What are you
think it's like
doing?
I think that moment is like the epitome of Cowboys football right now.
Yes.
Of like we followed up stupid decision with stupid decision, and then we fucked around and found out.
Yeah.
Like
Oh my god.
like that's it. That's all there is to it.
So, moral of the story: fuck the Cowboys. I
The
cannot deal
Texans
with.
did.
Yeah, I knew it was a long shot. Don't get me wrong, but there was a sliver of hope. At one point, when they scored the touchdown, I was still winning. Okay,
Yeah, that's
it was at least close, and then you just handed them a defensive touchdown, and it was over. Couldn't come
yeah,
back from that.
that's a rough one. That's a rough one. I think it's just I feel like I'm trying to remember, but I feel like this year the team the teams that are out of it are so clearly out of it.
Yeah,
Whereas like I felt like last year, like the AFC, like everybody was still kind of in the hunt at this point. Like they were all sitting like you had a couple that were like, okay, we're trash. And we know we're trash.
yeah.
But like that was like maybe two or three teams.
No, this year it's
But right now the bottom is so
bottom. It's
it's
just
so
bad.
yeah, it's so crap that like I just want them to go away. I think if like mathematically you can't make the playoffs now, you should just stop.
No, doesn't quite work that way.
No, and I understand that, but I'm like, just come on.
I do think if you're mathematically eliminated, there should be something, but like at this point, it
Now
doesn't
it's all
matter.
about incentives
Yeah, which
for
is
what
why
decisions you make
the
to like
Giants did what they
keep
did.
people from, yeah.
Is
So it's
now
like how many more teams
I think we'll
do
start
you see
seeing
this with?
one. I think you'll start seeing firings happening, and then two, I think you will start seeing like I don't know,
I think that the only reason Doug Peterson hasn't been fired is because he doesn't have Trevor Lawrence.
which I don't even
But I bet
understand
you
that.
money if Lawrence had started and that game gone the same way, which it probably would have,
Okay, they would have put up 14 points
like
instead of 6.
then I think Monday or Tuesday they're like, we have a new head coach.
I think we would be talking about Doug Peterson
Yeah, I think we'd be.
being fired.
But the
I'm
only
gonna be
reason
honest.
it's not
I've been
coming,
checking Twitter to see if it has. It hasn't.
not with Trevor Lawrence out, he's gonna get a
I'm
pass,
I'm still
which
when
is
it's that
mildly crazy.
when it's that bad. I
But
kind of thought they were still just gonna pull the trigger,
yeah,
but fair enough, I guess.
because this was what this was close to. What the fuck was his name?
I have no idea.
The Chargers coach
Oh,
from last
Staley.
year. Yeah, this was Staley's.
Yeah,
Uh, the only difference, at least, this didn't happen in fucking prime time
yeah. If this
with
happened
the
in
whole
prime time,
goddamn world watching.
yeah, if this happened in prime time, I think he would have been fired today. But as of now, he has not been. So
Yeah, I unfortunately, I guess however you look at it, his job is currently being saved by an injury.
I don't think it will
Like,
be. I think at the end of the season he'll still get fired, but
no,
we'll
he'll
see.
still go. It's just what's keeping him from being fired right now
Fair enough.
is he's getting a pass because
He has to deal with Mac
he's
Jones.
using a backup quarterback that, to nobody's surprise, is not good.
Yeah.
Like, Mac Jones is not a good quarterback. I don't know what to tell you.
I
So,
love first round picks that just don't work out.
oh my god, it's like so many
Yeah.
at this point. I want to talk about really quickly a first round pick that is working out despite the record. Drake May.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That motherfucker is actually playing well, and he is a fighter.
We'll
He
give him
will
credit.
not go away.
We'll give him
Like,
credit. He
he is
tries.
one of
He's
them.
trying. He's trying. The poor
He looks
man is trying.
he looks like that little kid that's like, "I got you guys." He's trying so fucking
And
hard. And it's not, but he's playing well. You see the drive, you see the passion. His team is clearly rallying behind him.
I
They're
really
just not
hope.
good enough.
I really hope that this doesn't like kind of fuck him over in terms of like you're gonna get so used to losing that and like you start to feel to blame in a way because I do think you'll see that with rookie quarterbacks at times. I'm kind of
Mhm.
hoping he doesn't go down that path at some point.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I didn't want him to start,
Yeah,
but for what he is putting on tape right now, I think's been impressive. So, I just do. I don't think it's like he's not getting enough credit. I think he's owed a little bit of recognition.
yeah, yeah. I do think he's been one of the better rookies this season. Um, it's unfortunate that you played for the Patriots currently,
Yeah, or not.
but you
It's
know
not big
they
for
suck, so they might get better.
I think that's the goal. That's the hope. Is get some talent around him.
Unless you
Maybe
decide to be
upgrade the
like,
defense a little bit.
unless you decide to be like Jacksonville and suck at drafting,
Yeah,
because it'll
'cause
be the
that's
third time in 5 years that they've drafted number one overall. Because that's where they're
jeez,
currently projected to pick.
that's sad.
And the first time you took Trevor Lawrence, okay, you know, franchise quarterback technically, I guess, if you want to call it that.
I mean, you're paying him like it. You're stuck now.
The second time you chose Trayvon Walker over Aiden Hutchinson.
So winning, winning.
Decision was made. Not a good one. Just
No,
want to make that clear.
no. Aiden Hutchinson is doing more for his team right now today than Trayvon Walker has for Jacksonville at all times. And in case we're not clear, Aiden Hutchinson is still very much hurt.
Yeah, still has a very broken leg.
So
Which that
that's how
team
that's going.
also, the Lions cannot seem to buy a break on their injuries currently. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. I I don't know.
I
This
think
isn't to like I feel really bad.
it's the
And
way
I
they
feel bad
play.
for yeah, like you this is like Ravens and Pittsburgh style football. Like these
Like,
y'all are gonna get hurt.
yeah, you go out
Like
there, and the way it
when you
happened
play that hard.
for anyone, Alex Anzalone broke his arm because he went for a tackle, so he put his arm like to go like around a guy, and his own teammate pretty much just pinched him
Yeah.
in between, and it shattered his arm.
And he's having a great year. I felt really
Yeah,
bad when Miami cut him. And I thought he deserved I was shocked they cut him, and he's doing
he's
great things in
found his
Detroit.
place in Detroit,
I
and he
think he
has the
fits
past
their
couple seasons.
mentality.
He's been there a couple
Like,
seasons, and he's just a
yeah,
Dan Campbell guy.
yeah. He fits their mentality really well. He all of it has been great.
We
So
won't keep blowing smoke for the Lions, but when they're this good, they're this good.
no, they have definitely proven they are no longer the team you can just shit on or write off or anything. It's not the Ravens. I want the Lions. I would prefer the Ravens, but I would just really at this point take anybody but the fucking Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say anybody but anybody
Anybody that's viable,
at this point, yeah, probably.
because like the teams I wouldn't want are not viable right now.
Yeah.
Like if the Jets win the Super Bowl, the world's gone to shit. If the Cowboys come close, the world's gone to shit.
That would be like some designated survivor bullshit. Of every other team had a forfeit for some reason, so it was just
I promise if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl this year, I will listen to theories that the NFL is rigged. I promise. I will entertain those thoughts. I'll be like, okay, that's some crazy shit right there. And fucking
I
Cooper
th-
Rush and Trey Lance.
I think the NFL is rigged, or I don't think the NFL is rigged, but I think even if it is, if it was meant to be the Cowboys this year, they're looking at that team going,
They're like, no, can't do it. Can't do it.
"New script, get a new script, quick write."
Somebody for the love of God do something.
They're probably just gonna be like throw a dart at the board, or they're just gonna be
Just
like,
be like, who is it?
all right, the Lions are
Or they'll
good.
be like, ah, fuck it. Just give it to the Chiefs.
They'll either be like, give it to the Chiefs again, or the Lions are good.
Yeah. I like the Lions. I think they're a valid team. I think
Yeah.
yeah, I do feel bad, but like I feel bad, but
At the
when
same
you
time, like
play that hard, this is the
it's gonna happen.
consequence of that.
Yeah. But I do feel like it is kind of like a curse that even when
Yeah.
things are going well for them, it's not.
It goes bad.
Yeah.
Like
You
put
can't.
up 52 points, but still got fucked.
And what's sad is in the two games they put up the most points is the two games they've then proceeded to lose one of their best defensive players
Yep.
because it was in their demolishing of the Cowboys that Aiden Hutchinson got hurt.
When maybe they weren't needed.
Yeah.
Maybe that wasn't necessary.
But that's the way they play. That'll
Yeah.
happen. I respect it. It is what it is. You want to
All
talk
right.
next week?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So I have two primetime games.
I see that.
Monday Night Football, Raider, nope, Ravens at Chargers. Um, very excited for this game. Obviously, I'll talk more about it in my preview, but obviously, watching both Harbaugh brothers go up against each other, the way I just watched the Chargers play, and the Ravens got to turn shit around. So it'll be good. It'll be exciting. Ravens on prime time always do well. Should be good. And then the following week, the Ravens play the Eagles. So my game of the week is Eagles at Rams on Sunday Night Football. I know kind of what I think, which is the Eagles are mild posers that need a stacked roster to do anything because Jalen Hurts is a B to B minus quarterback, and the Rams are injured right now. So we're gonna see how that goes and what happens, and if I think the Ravens will stack up with the Eagles and their incredible roster. They can afford literally everybody and some.
Everything.
So genuinely am not convinced that there's no mafia involved. Oh.
Who knows? Who's
Yeah,
to say?
Sunday Night Football, Eagles at Rams should be good. They're both physical teams. I think Saquon Barkley's been fantastic. I've been liking watching him play, so that'll be a good part of that. But yeah, just want to see how the Ravens will stack up.
Fair? No. I have two games. I got Seahawks versus the Cardinals at 1:25 p.m. Pacific or p.m. Eastern. This game is for lead in the division, so it'll be definitely fun to watch from that standpoint. I'll obviously cover a lot more of it in my preview, whatever's going on with the teams. So yeah, Seahawks versus Cardinals should be a good one considering it is for lead in the
Yeah,
division. And
it
this
matters.
game
It's a good game.
and this game could really determine who wins the division or
Yeah.
who's in the best spot to win the division. And then my second game, I can't do Dallas's tactic of picking who I play next, which is really unfortunate because there's not a single game this week that is worth a shit. I'm gonna be honest.
And so you picked one, you picked a game.
I picked a game. I picked a game just because I enjoy watching the Broncos. So
It's
I'm gonna
fair.
go Broncos at Raiders, 1 p.m. It's a fun rivalry. Normally, they tend
Yeah.
to play each other hard. They kind of hate each other. Normally, they're fun games to watch. Um,
I remember
but
living in Denver, and when it was Raiders at Broncos,
yeah,
it was like, don't go downtown today.
yeah.
Just stay inside. It's gonna be okay.
If you hear gunshots, just
Yeah, just leave. Just don't.
but yeah,
Broncos at Raiders.
hate each other. I've been enjoying watching Bo Nix and the Broncos. Raiders suck.
Yeah.
I just had to pick a game, and none of them are good. So
And there are a lot of teams on bye
fuck
this
it.
week, and that never helps.
Yeah, and again, the Jets are who the Seahawks play next, and they're on bye, so it doesn't really help. And I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest, I know what the Jets are at this moment.
If you don't win that game, it's just
Is
like
it bad that
other
I'm?
problems.
Is it bad that I'm nervous? We're not
I
even
think
there yet.
so. Here's the thing. I think sometimes when you play really bad, okay, the Ravens lost to the Raiders. Like sometimes that shit happens, but then you have to live with it. So if you lose to the Jets, you're like, okay, sometimes you have a bad game, but now I just have to live with that knowledge.
Yeah,
Like
the
you lost
Seahawks.
to a terrible fucking
The
team.
Seahawks cannot afford to lose to the Jets, though.
Yeah,
That's the issue.
like
But
that'd be unfortunate.
yeah, that's where we're at with the games of the week. I'm not thrilled, but it is what it is.
No, that's fair. And yeah, it's there's so many teams on bye next week. There's 6 teams.
Good lord,
Falcons, Bills, Bengals, Jaguars, Saints, and Jets.
none of them are good.
So the matchups are few and far between.
Yeah,
So, and then obviously, like with 3 primetime games, you got Sunday as a smaller, smaller block.
yeah. And then
Awesome. Well, did you have any other thoughts on football this past week?
no,
Any other sports thoughts? We talked boxing,
um,
which was weird.
college
I
football
doubt we'll ever
wise.
talk about it again. Just so we're clear, y'all.
Oh
That
yeah,
we'll
no.
ever talk about it again.
College football continues to be pretty much how we expect it to go. We are still waiting to see some teams lose and some teams win. Um, that's pretty much it for that. It's college football. Still waiting. Colorado, I think, will make the playoffs. For anyone wondering, they are a team I don't think anyone wants to play right now either, considering how they're going. And I do think Travis Hunter is trying to make a big case for Heisman. It is going to be an uphill battle still, considering just how good Genty has been. You don't rush for 125 plus yards in every game this season and
Yeah,
not at least have a
a foot in the door.
yeah. And he's currently leading projections, but there's still a lot of games to be played, so we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Not a whole ton going on.
Any basketball thoughts?
Um, still pretty early in the season. Nikola
Yeah.
Jokic hasn't played the last 2 games, so the Nuggets have lost. Which, I mean, like, is anyone surprised? Considering that he's been playing at an MVP level. Um, that's it. That's really nothing else going on.
LeBron set a new record for oldest player to win
Yeah,
consecutive triple doubles. And this record was previously held by him.
yeah.
So there's that.
He's still doing it. It's still LeBron.
Way too early to be talking about fucking hockey. Way too early.
That's how I feel about basketball. Is we're
That's
only
fair.
12 games in
There's just so many games.
of an
It's
82
like,
game
my God.
season.
It's like, let's cut that in half.
No, I like it. I like having this many games. There are reasons to have this many games.
It's hard to watch all of it.
You don't
There's
have
not
to.
enough hours in a day.
You don't have to watch all of it. Only watch when it gets down the wire. You can
Right
cut
now I'm
this.
watching highlight packages and
Yeah,
like
you can cut
condensed
half the
replays.
games away. It's not hard.
So it's just it's just been a struggle.
Yeah. So
But
yeah.
yeah, too early.
But
All
yeah,
right,
I have no other sports news.
cool.
Nothing really interesting.
Then I think that wraps us up for the week.
Yeah. So that I think does it. Make sure like, subscribe, comment. But that being said, I've been Brendan.
And I've been Dallas.
Have a good one.